Hi everyone! So I hope today's video is going to get your heart beating because we're going on a ride to discover an artist that transforms supercars to even more priceless artworks.
My name is Benedict Radcliffe and this is my studio in Shoreditch in London. Come in.
What's your background? Tell us a bit more.
I've been in London for about 11 years now. I was up in Glasgow before that studying at the Mackintosh School of Architecture. I was also working with some quite well-known Scottish artists that were working at a local gallery. For example, Simon Starling, Martin Boyce, Jim Lambie, and thought, I'm going to have my own show. I had about 5 or 6 pieces. The main one was the Subaru Impreza wireframe car, made out of 10mm rod and then sprayed Arctic white. The Impreza, which was kind of the car that I had on my wall as I was growing up, it had lots of associations with rallying, COLIN, McRAE, but also there was kind of a naughty side to it in terms of where I'm from in Kent. This was the car of choice that was getting stolen at the time, you know, by the boy racers. So there was all of this kind of association with it, and I put it on the street in Glasgow and I left it there for about 4 or 5 days. I left it out on the street and no one stole it, but someone tried to pull it about 100 metres up the road, which was quite sweet. It was interesting seeing people's reactions to it. It just caused kind of joy and fun. And then I moved down to London in 2007 and I showed some of my work at the Art Car Boot Fair, and just so happens that one of Paul Smith's assistants was walking around. She said, would you like a show? So as soon as I arrived in London 6 months later, I had a show in Mayfair at the Paul Smith Gallery. Again, I put the Subaru in the street, so I didn't have permission to put the car on the street. I just did it. Obviously, around this time I was looking at Banksy. He was being quite brave, but also having a lot of fun. And so that was a kind of an inspiration, for sure. I mean, the biggest one for me was the one in Las Vegas recently, at the Palms Hotel. I'd seen Las Vegas in films, and also when they mentioned a guy called KAWS, and you know, Damien Hirst, would I like to be involved? Of course I would. And again, it was kind of a progression of putting the car outside in Glasgow. They wanted me to put it outside in the parking in the valet in Las Vegas, so of course I said yes.
And did they ask for a Lamborghini or did you propose?
They basically said, can we have a Lamborghini? But they were keen on that kind of retro, you know, kind of Las Vegas, kind of city of excess. And also kind of 80s, they were possibly going down like an 80s theme.
Looking at how detailed each piece is, I ask how long does it take from start to finish?
They take about, I'd say they take about 4 months, 3 or 4 months. You know, it takes me quite a long time to work out what curves and what lines to put in. Once you've got the lines, it's easy because it looks visually right. The part that I like the most exciting bit is finishing it and painting it. And that's the most exciting bit. There's no turning back, you know. I've done all the lines, all the hard work, and the thinking has been done. And then put in a crate and sent wherever it's going. I don't like that bit, putting it in a crate. You know, a couple of times when I sent the Plymouth Superbird to the museum in Kansas, I don't know what happened. Maybe the guys pushed it off the boat or something, but it was damaged. A couple of the welds broke, and if one goes, dink, another one goes, dink, 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 dink. So I had to go and repair that.
Building these cars require you to be very resilient and attentive to details. So I asked Benedict, where does his motivation and passion come from?
Cars, bikes and motorbikes all come from my father and my father's friends. So he was always repairing his friends' cars on our driveway. And so as a kid I was just surrounded by cars, and I was really lucky, and I had a dad that was really encouraged that kind of stuff. You know, there was no kind of, oh, be careful, you know, da-da-da. It was just, you know, take that motorbike apart and try and make a go-kart if you want. I couldn't, but I tried, you know. So he was a huge inspiration to me, you know, so that's kind of where it came from.
Some of the most iconic car moments are recognized in movies.
There's, you know, an amazing chase scene of an Audi A8 from Mercedes, I think, going through the mountains. There's a brilliant film of a Ferrari racing up Montmartre. The sounds and the, you know, greasy streets and cobblestone streets of Paris are really romantic as well. So yeah, I love all of that stuff.
What's the next car you're most excited to make?
To be honest, I'm doing them all. I mean, the very top secret one over here that we can't see is the Lancia Stratos. And like the name, it looks like it's from outer space. It was revolutionary at the time in the 70s when most of the cars that were rallying were Minis or Escorts. You know, the Stratos had a Ferrari Dino engine, you know, so that's kind of exciting, you know, this kind of incredible V6 engine.
As cars still continue to fascinate, I ask his thoughts on collaboration between artists and major manufacturers.
Cars are how we get about, how we've always had a fascination for the last 50, 60, 100 years with cars as a piece of product design, as a status symbol. So I can see why big brands are starting to work with artists to give them more exposure. The BMW art car pieces, you know, Alexandra Calder, all the way up to, you know, Roy Lichtenstein's BMW, all the way up to Jeff Koons' BMW. So they're my favourite pieces of kind of artwork which has been put onto a car, which is why I was so inspired to make the Marilyn Monroe piece, because I was referencing that connection with art and cars. I mean, the other guy who's fun is Erwin Worm, who does the blow up.
Artists' work are always evolving, so I asked Benedict where does he see his work going next?
Again, it's just trying to experiment with different materials and try to produce more of the smaller models. The F40 is coming, the Countach is coming. I want to do an Impreza, because that was the first one that I started with.
I hope you enjoyed this studio visit. Big thanks to Benedict for showing us around. You can keep up with Benedict's works on his Instagram or on his website. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!